very much. Pass that up and down. Ladies and gentlemen, just say that as this unfolds, this will work best, and it's a relatively small, but select audience, and so your contributions are welcome. In fact, the whole thing will only really work if you do contribute. So that's to be encouraged. So do be thinking about questions, contributions, statements, or however you want to put it. This is being done in the spirit of dialogue. So it's not really for you to, it's not imagining you will sit there, listen to panels and then go away again. Active participation is the order of the day. On which front, there is a roving microphone over there somewhere. And so when you want to speak, please wait till that gets there. It's not because you can't be heard in the room, it's because your contribution won't be recorded otherwise. So it's not so much a microphone that's needed for amplification, they're needed for recording. So let's begin. So our first session, the role of the license-funded BBC and the significance of the strategy review. We're very pleased to have Caroline Thompson here, and I'll start, if I may, Caroline, just by. Can you explain, in layman's terms, simply, if you can, what is the point and basic idea behind the strategy review?
The strategy review is something. Strategy reviews are something to undertake periodically. And like painting the fourth. Strategy, working like that. Can you hear both of us? Trouble is, I can't sort of look that way then. Anyway.
Why don't you pass the other microphone?
Strategy reviews are something we undertake periodically, a bit like painting the Forth Road Bridge these days. When you no sooner finished one, then you have to start with another. We've done it on the basis that we're responding to changing circumstances all the time in the BBC. Those changes might be technology changes, they might also be changes in the market, and of course in the last 2 years we've seen significant crises and issues in the commercial broadcasting market which people were asking us to look at. There can be changes, of course, in the BBC terms of the political landscape, although this was undertaken before an election, so we didn't know what the changes were going to be in that case. There can be changes in audience behaviour. We're seeing a very rapid growth in audience on demand, for example, iPlayer and so on. So that's the point.
Okay. So that's a generalised, perfectly respectfully generalised view of why organisations have strategy reviews. Specifically, what is this strategy review about? Because it's been promoted as the most fundamental and far-reaching that the BBC has done for some time. What's the big idea, or is it?
The big idea here is that, when we did the previous strategy reviews, actually for about the previous decade in the BBC, had focused a lot on, rightly, on how we were going to respond to the digital revolution. From John Bird's era and the setting up of BBC Online, they've been driven by technological changes. What in a sense we're starting to say here, and I think it's the beginning of a process rather than an end, by the way, for the reasons I was saying, is that actually with the technological digital revolution is still continuing, but we've now got to a sort of stage in it where we have to look and see what is the BBC for. And what we've said is what the BBC for is, it's got to remember it's got to get back to its knitting. It's got to be about great programmes first and foremost. And what we can do is, in the new era, alongside some of the things we've been doing in digital, given by the charter of investigators, but what we ought to be doing is making sure that above all else we are great content providers, as we now call it in digital age.
You'll forgive me, it's when seeing people at the BBC say that kind of thing, words like better programmes, higher quality, outstanding content, as if you ever set out to do anything else.
That is absolutely right.
To say that it's platitudinous understates the case.
Yes, on the other hand, I hope you find it reassuring that we think that's our top priority. And within that,
I do. I think where it leaves me, I think it leaves me wondering if there isn't something else going on here. Well, because of course you do that. What else would you do?
Yes. Well, I think that is.
We used to make bad programmes. Now we're going to make outstanding programmes.
Well, I think there is, of course, in it an implicit recognition that we haven't always been as good at making high quality and distinctive programmes as our priority. So I think you should recognise that there is a change there. But I think also within it, what we've done is we've defined these 5 content priorities. And I don't think in the debate about the strategy review, there's been quite enough focus on those 5 content priorities. And we come on to the subsequent point, which is the point that Frank was alluding to, that these priorities are intended to be there as a roadmap for us. If we're going into an era where there's greater restraint on public spending, certainly we're not expecting to see major growth in BBC revenue. Lovely if we could get it, but we recognise the restraints. So what we need is this roadmap, but not just to say what we're about. Essentially is high quality programming. So if we have to cut things, we would cut other things other than programme budgets.
Okay, but
we also make those 5 editorial priorities.
Okay. As it stands, there's been a lot of heat about it. It does, yes, in a sort of way. There's been a lot of noise about 6 Music and the Asian Network, as 2 things that stand out as the only tangible thing anyone can see. You're saying it's almost as if they're the only tangible thing. That the 600 million, turned out to be slightly illusory in the sense that only a couple of $100 million was from savings. The rest was from reprioritisation of. So it sounds like a big number, but when you interrogate it wasn't quite such a big number. A lot of it was sort of, well, we'll retweak. We're not taking it off BBC One to give it to BBC 4 or vice versa. We're going to sort of retweak what we do BBC One to reflect these new commitments, these new priorities. So I suppose.
Can I just pick up that point for a minute, Steve? Because I think you're right that a lot of the focus has been on the 6 Music and Asian networks, and then the 600 million figure, which got slightly wrongly interpreted right at the beginning. But for us in the BBC doing the strategy, the key things are what we're about programmes, what we're about are these editorial priorities. By the way, look at what those editorial priorities say, don't say as well as what they do say. So they don't talk about sport, they don't talk about films, they don't talk about acquired programmes, they don't talk about entertainment.
Is one of the problems.
And then, in addition, so everyone focuses on 6 Music, but in addition to that, the other very big things, we have said in online, we need to cut half the domain names and 25% of spending in online. Okay. Now that's actually a much more significant change than 6 Music and Asian.
If you look at this historically, BBC embraced multi-channel. For John Burr, agreeing with the government, lead the nation into multi-channel digital future, so on, so on, so on. That's had some sort of, and indeed Mark Thompson made a speech in Bath in the early 90s, if I recall, outlining a strategy which said that the future of television viewing was going to be with sort of genre-based or niche, demographically niche, focused channels, and that the BBC had any intrinsic value, which of course he believes, sadly it does, but many would agree, needs to deliver its services in ways that were consistent with everyone would watch. So the future was a BBC not so much based around 2 big channels, which is its history, but based around a network of smaller channels which additively would meet the need. So a youth channel, a high culture channel for BBC 3, BBC 4, a factual channel for BBC 2, an entertainment and drama channel for BBC 1. That was the idea. Now, that didn't happen as it happened. That's not where we watch television, and it hasn't changed in that way. And so you've ended up in a position where, for perfectly understandable reasons, one of your problems that you always look too big is generated by the fact you have so many channels. So here's the question. In the on-demand era, you say that you're refocusing on content. Why do you need so many channels?
Well, we've got the number of channels we have, and we could shut some, and we did look
refocus
at if you're talking about television. Of course, we looked at the radio portfolio, and we have proposed shutting 2.
That's what I mean. The only tangible evidence of a reaction to historical change.
Yeah. We are in the middle of a digital switchover. It would seem, and I absolutely agree with passion for digital switchover, it would seem an odd thing to do to start curtailing people's choice, given that we know that one of the things that people who are late adopters of digital television value is the increased choice. But what we have said in the strategy review is when we get to the end of digital switchover, we will look again at the television portfolio.